Every single news organization that doesn't start breaking news, the president of the United States clearly is showing cognitive decline and lying his ass off on the global stage, is quietly capitulating to fascism. Covering this man as though this is normal is one of the biggest crimes, and the autopsy of this shit show that is the Trump regime. That will be a problem. And let me just show you how easy this stuff is. Breaking news. Frail and confused dictator embarrasses himself on the global stage. Play the clip.
It's a singular privilege to be the first American president welcomed here. And
then if I were a major news reporter, I would say, stop. That's a lie. He's not the first president that's ever been invited to Windsor Castle. That was a complete lie. He's making shit up. Again, he clearly has dementia. Play the clip.
And that's the first, and maybe that's going to be the last time. I hope.
All right, stop right there. Maybe that's going to be the last time. That's what fascists say. That's not what democratically elected presidents of democracies, particularly the United States of America, say. All right, next up. If I were a mainstream media journalist, I would say the president of the United States is still very confused or intentionally and diabolically lying and claiming that he won the 2020 election yet again. And I want to remind the viewers that this is the same election that he riled up a bunch of people in his cult to go and try to kill his vice president. I want to remind everybody of that. No, it wasn't the 4th of July. It was a violent insurrection. And he's still a demented freak show that does this. Play the clip.
All the information that's come out. We won in 2020 big. And I said, let's run. We got to run, because I saw what was happening. And the worst thing that I saw was all of these people. You know, we've already solved inflation. We've solved prices.
Oh my God.
Oil is way down.
Lie.
Energy is way down
Lie.
in the United States.
Nothing he said there, not one thing was true. Not one. The Chiron should be President of the United States is lying again. And shame on the UK. Shame on the UK for rolling out this whole state dinner for a man that wants to subvert democracy. You saw what happened on January 6th. Why are you capitulating to this? You think he's going to defend you against Vladimir Putin? I have some footage to show you of how he treated him in Alaska. Everybody cut the crap. Right. I am so sick of it. And then here he is. He's covering up his health crisis. Here he is last night at Windsor. And here he has his makeup all over his hand again. All right. And this guy is so incredibly weak, you guys. And this is where I have good news for you. And you're thinking, why is it good news that he's so weak? And let me explain to you psychologically about strongmen. So Trump is what people who study fascism and authoritarianism would call a strongman. And it's very important that he always emit this strength and that he's so strong all the time. We can't have him getting sick. We can't have him getting frail. We can't have any of that. But yet it's happening. It's happening. Everybody's seen the ankles. Seen the hand. You saw him there just demented again, talking about, I'm the only president that's ever been invited here. You know, like, I don't know if he's, he's a known teetotaler, but let me show you guys what happens when strong men get sick and weak. Put up the first slide. The erosion of the strongman image. Authoritarian legitimacy often rests on vitality and dominance. Signs of frailty, shaking hands, slurred speech, absence from public life can puncture the myth of invincibility. Rumors about illness spread quickly, especially when regimes try to hide the truth. The secrecy itself signals weakness. So, listen up, buttercups. All day, every day, share nonstop. I don't care how many of your followers you have. Those weak, demented man, he can't walk in a straight line, swollen cankles, lies about his height, lies about his weight, all of this stuff. This is a weak man. Is the cult going to stay fixated on this? Put up the next slide. This is where it gets really interesting. Once the strong man has been found to be weak, the succession struggles intensify. Authoritarians rarely create clear succession plans. They fear empowering rivals. Ill health accelerates factional jockeying inside their regime. Elites began forming camps around possible heirs or replacements, sometimes leading to purges or coups. Well. This reminds me of failed drag queen JD Vance, who
Yeah.
I like to refer to as Smoky Eye Sociopath. And for short and spite, I call him Little Smoky. And we all know that he is surrounded by a bunch of very bad, nefarious actors right now. And they are all acting very quickly to consolidate power around a very frail, very sick, very confused old man that looks like he just wandered out of the nursing home onto Windsor Castle. They're all consolidating around him. And they are trying to consolidate power in the executive so that when this frail person that's clearly at the end of their life, biology is probably going to take care of it at some point, as all nobody escapes it, right? Pumps, death, and taxes. How much power is his successor going to have? And so this is a moment for all of us because the billionaires aren't going to save us. Big business isn't going to save us. Congress isn't going to save us. And the courts are not going to save us. We have to save ourselves and we have to organize online and in person to put up a fight against this fascism.
You know, it's not surprising, any of this, but then I look at the pictures of him with his big muscles and his guns, and he's so
The
healthy.
Photoshop photos.
The Photoshop photos. And now I'm like, okay, I get it. Because in real life, you see at the 9/11 memorial, his face looked like he had a stroke. It was
victim.
drooping. And then, and I know I've always said they're incompetent, that whole regime. His makeup looks horrible. But the incompetence of covering up the hand is a whole different level of incompetence.
This ad is brought to you by Vive Healthcare, the makers of Apertude, Cabotegravir.
You never skip your SPF, and you carry hand sanitizer like an accessory, but what are you doing for HIV prevention? One way to help protect yourself from HIV is Apertude, a prescription medicine used to reduce the risk of getting HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds.
You must be HIV negative to receive Apertude and get tested before each injection. If you think you were exposed to HIV or have flu-like symptoms, tell your doctor right away. More HIV testing may be needed. Apertude does not prevent other sexually transmitted infections. Practice safer sex to reduce your risk. Get Apertude as scheduled. Missing doses increases your HIV risk. Don't take Apertude if allergic to it or taking certain medicines that may interact. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions, liver problems, and mental health. Serious side effects include allergic reactions or rash, liver problems, and depression. If these occur, get medical help right away. The most common side effect is injection site reaction. Bring your A game and talk to your doctor. Learn more at apertude.com or call 1-888-240-0340. Okay, so this is what's really important, what's happening right now in conjunction with the erosion of the First Amendment, as we saw with the Jimmy Kimmel situation. And as Pumps pointed out in an earlier episode, canceling NPR and PBS. At the exact same time that he's doing this, most opposition would be organizing against fascism, anti-fascism, anti-fascist, Antifa. So at the exact same time, he puts out this lie social. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, he is basically saying, number one, Antifa doesn't exist.
Right.
Okay. It's an ideology. But I do think this is him being offensive with Stephen Miller, who has ambitions once this very frail, old, poor health, cognitive decline man, biology catches up with him. He has intentions to start labeling any form of opposition as a terrorist organization.
Right.
So, like, I would say right now, a very big thing that we could organize to do, Pumps and I could organize with other podcasters, with other content creators and other influencers, and we could all say, okay, Friday at 12 Central Time, we're all going to post the same black square that says, I am Antifa. Do you remember how Black Lives Matter did that and how successful that was? How successful I had people that I knew were racist. I knew these people were racist. I'd heard them say racist things, but the peer pressure of that movement to post the black square and to honor, the regression that had happened when we saw the murder of George Floyd. I would say that doing something like this could be very beneficial. Everybody posting, I am Antifa, hundreds of millions of Americans posting it. Then what are they going to do? What are they going to do with that? What is he going to do with that? And we can look to like Hassan Piker here, who is a real leader in this movement. Hassan responds to Trump's Lie Social, and it says, anti-fascism is an action, not an organization. This is precisely the reason why the fascist administration will go after anyone expressing discontent with fascist policies. And I genuinely believe, you guys, that organizing media, like I started out this episode, they're not calling him out. No, they're not saying he's in poor health. They're not even asking him about the bruises on his hands. They're not asking about his ankles. They're not calling him out. They're not talking about leading the president lied in the UK the entire trip. They're not reporting that. So we, the people, are what remain. And we are going to have to organize something big because they're already saying they want to label the resistance a terrorist organization. And in light of seeing domestic shootings happen, it's terrifying to think about all of us being like out in the street marching together because there's so many guns in the country. But I do think there are ways we can do it. So I do think we should reach out like to Hassan, to Midas Touch, and coordinate messaging that we can emit on social media to let them know that we are not going anywhere and we will resist this. And we are Antifa and we are anti-fascist. We don't have a clubhouse. We don't have a place where you can donate to because we just oppose fascists taking over a free and fair country. Which brings me to my final tweet, which is an image that Molly Ploufkins put up. She says, after more than 8 years, the Trump administration has finally located Antifa's headquarters in northern France. And you guys, this is what's so important to remember. Our Allied forces in World War II fought the fascists and won. And it has been a source of great pride for the United States, for Western Europe, that then ultimately led to the liberation of Eastern Europe. And he is now saying that the people that oppose fascism are terrorists. This is a classic abuser gaslighting technique. And I really think it's going to take massive organization, at least for now, because I know everybody's terrified of what they're seeing on television. At least online, we can start. And you can also start by unsubscribing to Disney, Hulu, and any other Trump sycophant who will not stand up for this country.
Well, and we, the people, have an advantage over all this media. We are not beholden to these billionaires that thrive under a Donald Trump. So we have the advantage because we are not so beholden to everyone. We get to say what we want for now in the United States of America because we are individuals. And I just want to know, remember at January 6th, the first thing they said, oh, it was Antifa. First thing after Charlie Kirk got shot, oh, it was Antifa. These people are liars and they will use any type of violence to go against people that disagree. And all they're doing right now is suppressing people that disagree.
I just think it's important to remember that Antifa is and was the people who fight against Nazis and fascists, and the people that have the courage to call a fascist a fascist. And if you don't want to be called a fascist, quit acting like a Nazi. It's not that hard. All right, that's all we have for today. We'll be back locked and loaded with more news tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and I will report back on my idea to coordinate for a big Antifa, anti-fascist social media post, because I think we can make it go viral. We've got to try to do something. We'll see you all later.